The rising cost of living in Malaysia in 2025, a major socio-economic challenge affecting Malaysians across all income groups, especially the B40 and M40. Although Malaysia's economic outlook for 2025 appears positive, with official inflation expected to stay between 1.5% and 3.5%, many households are experiencing a much higher increase in daily living expenses. This gap between official data and real-life experiences highlights how deeply the rising cost of living affects people's financial stability. One of the main drivers is government policy reforms, particularly the rationalization of fuel and utility subsidies. While these reforms aim to improve fiscal sustainability, they also push up prices across the supply chain. When fuel costs rise, transportation, logistics and production costs also increase, causing goods, especially essential items, to become more expensive. Another major factor is the disproportionate increase in the prices of basic necessities, especially food. Malaysians are spending a growing share of their income on groceries, utilities, and transportation. At the same time, wage growth remains slow, and income levels are not keeping up with living expenses. This combination, rising prices and stagnant wages, directly erodes household purchasing power and increases financial pressure on families. Given these challenges, the government has introduced several mitigation strategies. These include Sumbangan Tunai Rama, a targeted cash assistance program for lower-income households, and the progressive wage policy, which aims to raise wages more sustainably. While these policies provide some relief, the key question is whether they can effectively address deeper structural issues and policy-driven price increases affecting Malaysians.
There are a lot of factors if we see in wide view that focus on prices rising faster than income, which we call it as inflation. Today in Malaysia, even though it looks like our income are rising, many of us are already experiencing the consequences of highly rising cost of living. A study by the Social Wellbeing Research Center at University of Malaya produced in March 2025 state that the food prices are still climbing while wages are either not enough or insufficient. For example, the study finds that a Malaysian minimum wage worker must work approximately 58 minutes to buy 1 liter of milk, while in the Netherlands, the worker only works approximately 4 minutes to buy 1 liter of milk. Next, in supporting article of the Star published on 9 October 2025, it states that even though household disposable income had risen by approximately 3.2% for 2024, the expert state that the real purchasing power is much weaker because living costs are now rising faster than income. Other than that, according to the Ringgit Plus blog, median monthly household income in 2024 rose by 5.1% in about 7,017. However, monthly household spending rose significantly to 5,566, in about 2/3 of spending being put into essential category like housing, food, and transport. If we combine these different sources, show that the specifically for food and basic necessities are rising faster than most people's income, which places many Malaysian families increasing a risk of losing real purchasing power, therefore losing affordability to sustain and decent quality of life.
While inflation keeps escalating, more and more Malaysians find it increasingly difficult to keep up with the basic necessities. In most households, the monthly income is no longer growing at the same rate as daily expenditure. Food costs are among the heaviest burdens. Prices of everyday goods like chicken, rice, cooking oil, and vegetables have been rising steadily, the Department of Statistics Malaysia reported. Households are having to tighten their belts too, whether it be choosing cheaper brands or simply buying less or non-essentials. Housing is another major challenge. Rents in cities have climbed so much that young people have to stay, leaving home or packing more bodies into domicile just to afford sleeping somewhere. Transportation expenses are another financial strain. With petrol prices and car loan installments increasing, many Malaysians no longer travel or prefer to use public transport to cut costs. This increase in cost is affecting lifestyles. More and more Malaysians will have to rely on sub-income or part-time jobs just to live, not enjoy life. At the end of the month, some families save and some barely scrape by. In the end, inflation is not just an economic problem. It impacts mental health, family well-being, and overall happiness. Many Malaysians are anxious about the future, not because they desire wealth and luxury, but simply want to have a good life which is stable and comfortable.
Malaysians have to make substantial changes to their daily money management. They are consciously cutting back on non-essential spending such as avoiding dining out or going to the movies. The focus has shifted toward choosing cheaper generic brands. Many families are now shopping smart. They diligently search for deals, promotion and options to purchase goods in bulk at wholesale market. All of this is done to maximize the value of every ringgit spent. Since wages are not keeping pace with rising bills, more people are turning to the gig economy. They work as e-hailing or food delivery drivers to earn extra money. There is also great stress on practicing generous budgeting. On the government side, immediate support is provided through the Sumbangan Tunai Rahmah STR cash initiative. This marks a shift towards more target cash aid distribution. It ensures financial support is focused to the lower income groups who need it most. The government is also implementing direct price control measures like menu rahmah and seasonal pricing restriction. These are direct action to ensure key items, especially food, remain affordable. This helps alleviate immediate financial burden. In the long term, significant efforts are underway to strengthen the country infrastructure. This includes the development of the PADU database for accurate subsidy target and Agro-Madani for food self-sufficiency. Furthermore, the Purpose Progressive Wage Model aims to ensure continuous income improvement.
In conclusion, the increasing cost of living in Malaysia in 2025 is more than just an economic number. It is a daily experience whereby households grapple with rising costs no matter their income levels, and particularly for the B40 and M40 groups. It has been a long year of subsidy rationalization, stagnant wage growth, and disproportionately high increases in food and housing costs to whittle away spending power and rework daily budgets for many families who now cut back on expenditure, take up part-time work, or live under ongoing financial pressures. Although government programs like STR, Menu Rama, PADU, Agro-Madani, and the Progressive Wage Model offer temporary relief and structural reforms that are significant. So what needs to change for Malaysia to build a better future? Malaysia must act boldly in order to secure a better future for its people. Wages need to increase as living costs keep rising, so families can afford the basics without hardship. Critical items need to be closely tracked and controlled, so price gouging doesn't leave the average family paying the most. But even as support programs like PADU continue to provide assistance, aid must go to where it's needed most. Ultimately, an investment in local agriculture, away from dependence on imported food and toward a more sustainable food system, will serve to make the country more resilient. Together, these measures can help Malaysians angling to cope with soaring costs have a more fixed, secure, and hopeful life.